folks, welcome to a Broken Meeple Express review for Dixit Stella, or Stellar Dixit Universe, or Dixit Universe Stella. I'm not entirely certain which way round it's supposed to be, but frankly, stop calling things something universe. That really irks me. Just call it Stellar. You don't have to mention it's in a Dixit universe or anything, but well, I digress. Go off on a rant, I haven't even started yet. But here I'm taking a look at a spin-off from the original Dixit. So if anybody knows me, it's downstairs, I can't look at it right now, but I like Dixit. I love these games that use these giant tarot-sized cards with all this gorgeous artwork on it. That's basically like Tim Burton like on drugs or something. And yeah, these games are so solid. Obscurio, great semi-co-op game. Detective Club, one of my favourite party games ever. You know, Spyfall meets Dixit. The original Dixit is still a classic party game, and Mysterium is also one of my favourites from a co-op sort of Cluedo-style genre. So any game that uses this system, I'm going to be interested in. Stella, I was a little bit concerned about going in because I thought, this sounds like a very small spin-off from Dixit. Like, is this maybe cash grabbing? I'm not entirely sure.
Cash grab!
But the idea with this is that this is a cross between Dixit and a game called Hive Mind. If you're ever aware of that one, it's an unheard of party game for most, but Hive Mind basically has you coming up with ideas for something like 5 things to fit in your pocket, and you've got to come up with ideas that other people will think of as well. So you're trying to think like a hive mind. Well, this is similar, except it combines that with the Dixit cards. So you play through 4 rounds, there's normally 15 Dixit cards out, I'm just showing 9 because of space. You know, as you can see, Nemesis is kind of taking up my table at the moment, for the most part. But the idea is that each round, everybody has their dry erase pad, and they look at those, and you get a clue word, which is done from a deck of cards, so no more having to spend half an hour thinking of a clue anymore. But for example, I've got Africa here on one of them. So everybody looks on their pad and looks on the board and goes, I reckon that card reminds me of Africa. That makes me think Africa. That makes me think Africa. But you're trying to cross off cards that not only you think relate to Africa, but what other players think relate to Africa. Once it's done, everybody compares their notes, and on this track on here, they detect on how many ones you've crossed off. Having the most crossed off though is a slight concern because you get too greedy, and if you do, if you're the only one at the very top of this trail here, you flip your token over to be in the dark as it's worded, and it means that if you fail at any point, you'll lose points compared to everyone else. So you gotta be careful about not to get too greedy with the numbers you do. But then, one at a time, everybody points at a card and goes, that makes me think of Africa because whatever, you know, you don't have to say why, but come on, that's the fun of the game. And if anybody matches with you, you get 2 points. If only one person matches with you, you get 3. Bit like in original Dixit, where you only wanted one person to gel with you, it's kind of the same here. And that's pretty much it. If you come up with a card that no one else has thought of, you fall, and you're out for the rest of the round. If you were at the top of this trail and that happens though, you lose a point for every card you crossed off, which is pretty damaging in a way. And that just goes on for 4 rounds and you total up all the points. Nice and simple. That's literally the whole game. The game quotes 30 minutes on the box. That's wishful thinking. You're really talking about 45 minutes, but that's still pretty short. The original Dixit could easily set you over an hour. I mean, trying to get to that 30-point mark can drag on a little bit with the original Dixit. Here though, 45 minutes, you are done with this game. If it's going on any longer than that, then you clearly took a break or somebody is dragging you down, because this is predominantly somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the player count, which goes from 3 to 6. I don't recommend this game as much with 3 or 4 though. This is definitely a game I want to pull out with 5 to 6 players, because with the choosing of the cards, if you've got this trail here that goes up to 10, right? I've never seen a single person in any game pick 8, 9 or 10. You just never get the clues line up that well. So at most you're talking 7, and that tends to be the highest. And that's in a 6-player game. In a 3 to 4 player game, nobody is picking more than say 5 at the absolute max, but predominantly only 3 or 4 picks. That's not that interesting. I just don't feel that there's enough interaction with players and not enough fluctuation with this track with only 3 to 4 players. It's not that the game fails at that count, but I just don't think it really shines. When you bump this up to 5 and 6 though, you can expand this a bit higher. You can get to about 6 or 7 on this track. Like I say, nobody has done 8, 9 or 10. It's almost pointless having them on the board, but I guess you had to cap it somewhere. But at least with 5 to 6 players, you've got more different sort of mindsets, you've got more different people that you can potentially link with. With 3 or 4, you could all be kind of on the same wavelength, and then it just kind of goes with the motions. But this definitely is quite an interactive game. You're talking with each other after you've considered your choices. Everybody's joking with the ones who get it wrong, or how somebody comes up with this dumb reason for a card, yet someone also thought that dumb reason. Just like in Hive Mind, the same enjoyment is in this. Production-wise, it's a Lebelude game. Seriously, do you need to question the production? This is really good. I mean, the box is not a big box. This is a thin box. We're talking the old sort of Stronghold style thin boxes, and it suits this game. If this was the Ticket to Ride size box, that'd be ridiculous. And there's still a bit of air in the box, but not tons. You get an insert which can hold everything in here nice. Everything slots in or clips down, so nothing's going to fall out. The pens clip down. The cards have got their own cubby hold. You know, everything is nice and well packaged. The artwork is sublime as always with the Dixit cards, but I especially love the dry erase scoreboard, which you basically just write on from round to round, total up, and then rub it off. Fantastic. More dry erase stuff, please. But also, I love these handboards. These handboards here that you cross off and mark the points down. There's a little bit on the side, a little banner that corresponds to this moon board, which means no matter which side of the card you're sitting on, you can orientate this board however you like, so that when you're crossing stuff off, you know which card you're referring to. That is so subtle, yet so brilliant. I would love more publishers to consider this kind of thing when they're doing these types of games. Now, that doesn't eliminate the one problem that you have, which is that if you're sitting with the cards upside down, you are going to struggle to see some of the nuances in some of the pictures. So I prefer to play this at my Portsmouth Game Club, where I've got a big table, my sponsored table is there, and people can get up and walk around the table, because you're probably going to want to do that. If you're trying to stare at these pictures the wrong way up or from the side, you're going to miss out details, and that could hamper your ability to do well or enjoy it as much. I tend to sit with them upside down because I don't know, I'm a little better at that. I'm used to seeing things upside down. I always have the Ticket to Ride map facing other new players, that kind of thing. But yeah, that can get in the way. But that's essentially all it is. It's super compatible with everything else. I mean, they've got the same backing as the original Dixit card, so you can throw any of the expansions into this game. You could mix this with the original Dixit. Frankly, the back of the cards doesn't mean anything. You could throw this into a game of Mysterium. You could grab the cards from Detective Club and throw them in here. The backing is unimportant. You just need a stack of 100 or so cards. And you don't see that many during a game. You have 15 at the beginning, and in each round, 5 go away and 5 come out. So 84 cards in the box, you get 15 at the start, and then 3 times they'll scrap. So you're getting another 15 cards during the game. So you're only getting 30 out of the 84 cards each game, and you're going to mix and match it, so you can get a decent amount of variety in the cards. And of course, you have all of these. So this is a small amount of them. The deck is about 3 times this amount, so the rest is in the box. Each one's got 2 clue words on it. Anger and Olympic, Artist Routine, Asia Clairvoyance, Temple Autumn. There are some weird ones on here, I must admit. There were some names where I didn't even know what they meant. Like, I had to find a dictionary to come up with some of these. And you think, how on earth am I going to relate this to any of the cards? But this does eliminate one problem with Dixit, which is you can have somebody drag the game out for 20 minutes while they try to think of a clue. Here, the clue is made for you. All you do is majority vote with the group as to, we should do probably health rather than America in this case. That nice and simple, nice and straightforward. So, game doesn't take long to teach. It's a small rule book. I mean, it's a pretty, sizable, size rule book, but loads of pictorial examples. Very few bits of text to read. It's as clear as day how to play this, even though it keeps referring to things as the Spark and the Super Spark and the Fall. I'm surprised there isn't something here called the Special, like at a Lego movie, but that could have worked. But it does what it says. It's a small spin-off of Dixit that's a good laugh and very simple to play. Does it replace the original Dixit? No. They're both different enough, because one of them is trying to get you to really concentrate on that whole, I can think like only just one other person. And certainly the nuances of trying to think of the clue yourself is, and like other people having to come up with a card that's like, I wonder if I can trick people into thinking that as well. That is an interesting part of Dixit. This one doesn't have those things. You get more points if you gel with only one person, but frankly, there's way too much variety in the cards, way too many people at the table for you to be able to go, I'm going to choose this picture because I think that Gerald over there is the only person who will think of that picture. No, you don't even consider that when you're making your choices. If that happens, it's a complete fluke. You cannot plan for that. Whereas in original Dixit, it kind of annoys me at times when you get couples go, oh, here's the clue, keyhole. And then they reveal that the reason it was keyhole was literally because they went on holiday last week and found some weird arch with a door in it. It's like, okay, thanks. So you two get to go on holiday and have this to yourself. We're in the lurch. It's like, that irks me in the original Dixit. You can't do that here. It's just, you don't really get to plan for it either. But this idea of trying to think like other players, I find fun in these games. Hive Mind is an underrated gem of a party game, and to see it replicated here with the picture cards, I think is a nice change, because Hive Mind is all about words and coming up with, say, 5 things that do this. This is different. This is using the picture card mechanic, and I love picture card mechanics. A picture speaks 1,000 words, so you can have all sorts of different styles of play depending on the person looking at the picture. That's why I love these to bits. I took it home with the family and it went over quite well. A friend of the family who likes Dixit also enjoyed this. This went down very well at my Portsmouth Game Club. It works well with gateway gamers, so this is something that you could bring new people into the genre where it doesn't necessarily feel like a party game, but it still is. You are like competing to win, but you ultimately don't care because you're just having fun with the game. And certainly the game is a little fragile. It can fall flat with some people, like maybe if you're not getting into the theme or really getting into the humor part behind people failing or what reasons they pick for the pictures, you could find a group where it kind of goes a bit dry. But then the original Dixit had that problem as well, so, it works both ways. But I do wish that this track was a little bit more fluctuating. Everybody seems to condense down quite often. I wish maybe there was a way to maybe come up with your own clues in a sense. I mean, this deck does work, but maybe it would be nice to come up with your own now and again. But like I say, there's a small gripes. This game is fine. Doesn't replace the original Dixit, but I think it sits alongside Dixit very nicely. And probably the biggest advantage it has over the original Dixit, though, is the time length. This is about half the length of time it takes to play a game of Dixit, and for many people, that might be enough to push this one above Dixit. I could see this killing Dixit for a few people in their collections. For me, it's going to sit alongside. I'm going to hang on to this one. But yeah, I could see why that time length might be a critical factor, because even for someone like me, who always complains about the time length of games sometimes, this definitely is something I had to think about. So, all in all, Dixit Stella is Dixit Universe Stella, whatever. It's like that Mummy film, remember? Like the dark universe it tried to create? The whole thing of universes is stupid. Abyss Conspiracy Universe, remember that one? Same problem, just stop it with these dumb titles. But that aside, game is still good fun. I do highly recommend it. I have a good time with this. Does what it says. I'm giving this one a solid 8 out of 10, seal of endorsement. I recommend if you're a fan of this picture card mechanic, definitely give this a shout. I don't think this quite steps up to the levels of, say, Obscurio, Mysterium, and certainly not Detective Club, but I think alongside Dixit, and perhaps that Muse game, this is kind of on par with those. So yeah, definitely a good laugh, and I'm definitely going to hang on to this one as well. I recommend it for game cafes, I recommend it for families, definitely a solid lineup in the Dixit. I was just about to say Dixit universe. Bad Luke. Anyway, that's it from me on this episode of The Broken Meeple. If you like what you see, please remember to leave a thumbs up and comment. What do you think of the game? What do you think of the Dixit games? Let me know what your favourite game is of these picture card mechanics. I want to know. Let me know your thoughts. So until next time, I'll see you on the next Broken Meeple video, and you can check out more content, including my recent top 10 anticipated games for 2022, and also my top 10 games of 2021. Take care, and remember, as always, it's only a game. Bye for now.